Today we are moving on with writing the equation of a line given a point and the slope of the line. So we're just more practice today. It's an important skill. It's not going away. You're going to need it for Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2. So the general formula comes from the slope formula. It is y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. And let's recall that this y right here stays a y, and this x right here stays an x. Just the little x1 with the subscript and the y1 with the subscript are going to change. Those are the only ones that are going to change. So let's use some substitution. This is x1, y1, and this is a slope of m. So we have y minus negative 5 equals 1/3 times the quantity x minus negative 2. 12, negative 12. Jeez Louise. All right, so now I'm going to go through and make these minus negatives into plus positives. And I have y plus 5 equals, and I'm going to distribute this 1/3 and get 1/3 x plus 4. And now moving that 5 over to the other side, I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. And we have y equals 1/3 x minus 1. I just wanted to emphasize to you, because it does come up a lot, that the original form that we got when we use the substitution is equivalent to the final form. So this step right here and this step right here are both valid options. You may see either one of those on a multiple choice test. So this is the point x1, y1, and this is the slope of m. So we have y minus negative 8 equals negative 3 times the quantity x minus 3. So minus a negative turns into plus a positive, and we're distributing the negative 3 here. So we have y plus 8 equals negative 3x, and a negative times a negative is positive 9. And now let's get y by itself by doing the opposite of plus 8, which is minus 8 to both sides. Plus 8 minus 8 cancel each other out, and we have y equals negative 3x plus 1. So we have the point x1, y1, and we have a slope of negative 2/5. So we have y minus negative 9 equals negative 2/5 times the quantity x minus 5. Minus a negative turns into plus a positive. Negative 2/5 times x is negative 2/5 x. And a negative times a negative is a positive, and 2/5 of x is 2. And now to get that y by itself, we're going to subtract 9 from both sides. Plus 9 minus 9 cancel each other out, and we have y equals negative 2/5 x minus 7. And the next one, we have x1, y1, and a slope of 1. So we have y minus negative 7 equals 1 times the quantity x minus negative 4. So minus a negative turns into plus a positive, and we have y plus 7 equals, distributing a 1 doesn't change anything because of that product property of 1. So 1 times anything is the same thing. So we have x plus 4. And to get rid of the plus 7, we're going to do the opposite and subtract 7 from both sides. And we have y equals x minus 3. And I'm going to skip down here until I get to number 13. Number 13 looks interesting, and number 15 looks interesting. So let's go down to number 13 and 15. So going down to number 13 now, we have x1, y1, and a slope of 0. That's what makes it interesting, because a 0 slope line starts to make a z. It's a horizontal line, and I know every horizontal line is y equals a number. This is some number here. So I know what the equation is before I even do the math, but I'm going to do the math just to show you. So we have y minus -4 equals 0 times the quantity x minus 3. Minus a negative turns into plus a positive, and I have y plus 4 equals, when I distribute a 0, because of the zero product property, it just becomes a 0. 0 times x is 0, and 0 times -3 is 0. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides, and I have plus 4 minus 4 cancels each other out, and I have y equals -4, which I knew before I even did the math, because I knew it was a horizontal line with a slope of 0, and it had to be y equals something, and the only y value I have is -4. So let's do number 15. This is an x, oopsies, x1, y1, and a slope of -1/4. So we have y minus 1 equals -1/4 times the quantity x minus -4. So y minus 1 doesn't change at all, and -1/4 times x is -1/4 x. And I have minus a negative, so that turns into plus a positive, but I'm multiplying that by -1/4, so that's -1. And now, to get rid of the -1 on the left, we're going to add 1 to both sides. And when I do that, these cancel out and these cancel out. So I'm left with y equals -1/4 x. And I know that when I go to graph that line, I'm going to start at the origin, because there's an invisible +0 after that x.